Do you accept what Marco Rubio said in terms of a deadline for these democratic elections? He basically said, according to the New York Times, that he wants to see a democratically elected president of Venezuela before Trump leaves office in 2029. So we're talking 3 years at least from now. Is that the timing that you would agree to?
Well, actually, that's not the timing that I've been discussing with Secretary Rubio or other officials in the United States. Actually, what they have said is that these 3 phases are not sequential, but that they can overlap, that the first phase of stabilization was already completed, and that actions on the third area, which is the democratization and reinstitutionalization of Venezuela, are already taking place. And at the end, Christiane, it is very important to understand that the characteristics, the condition of a Venezuelan society. Look, we are a united, cohesive society. I would say like no other in this hemisphere. We do not have religious, racial, regional, social, or political fractures. 90% of our people say we want to have free and fair elections. We want to have dignity, we want to have freedom, justice, because we want our families reuniting in Venezuela. Remember, 1/3 of Venezuelan population, roughly 9 million, have been forced to flee. They want to go back. We want to re-encounter, but only if the criminal regime that once forced them out is dismantled and we have, the certainty that we can live with justice, freedom, and opportunities, which is, by the way, what the big investors also look for. They want rule of law. Venezuela is currently in the last place globally by the World Justice Project, which ranks 143 countries globally. Venezuela is in the 143rd place right now. So to have long-lasting and huge investments to take advantage of Venezuelan huge potential in oil, gas, energy infrastructure, minerals, rare earth, and so on, you have to have rule of laws and a regulatory framework that is predictable and sustainable. And that can only happen after we have free and fair elections.
So I need to press you on this then. Is 2029 too late? When do you want to see elections? And secondly, you talked about all of this can only happen when the criminally responsible Maduro regime is gone. Do you include Delcy Rodríguez in that description, or do you accept her as a transitional figure?
Well, regarding to your last question, we have offered privately and publicly our willingness to have a negotiated transition in which incentives and guarantees are given to those that facilitate this process. The wide majority of the Venezuelans that have been involved with the regime, they did it for fear. And we have opened our arms and given them the security that they will be part of this recovery of Venezuela. This is not revenge. We will not do to them what they did to us. We will guarantee they will have safeguards and rights respected. But you have to understand that when 90% of the people is determined to be free, a nation that has a single purpose, that is organized, that has such a democratic culture and history as Venezuela has, we will never give up. We will never surrender. Venezuela will be free.
Yes, I understand that, but you're not answering my question about Delcy Rodríguez. I understand everything you're saying about amnesty and all the rest of it. Is she, according to you, the acceptable transitional figure?
She will have incentives, and I think it's her, her last opportunity to have the possibility to be recognized as a figure that helped a peaceful and ordered transition to democracy to Venezuela. She has an opportunity, as the armed forces, that I have to insist, more than 80% of their members also want a transition to democracy soon. And regarding the timing, Venezuelan people want elections as soon as possible. From a technical perspective, it requires between 7 and 9 months once you take the political decision to move forward, naming a new electoral council. That's the step that should be taken as soon as possible.